Okay, guys, welcome to the Fan Show. This is where I talk to Tottenham fans from all around the world about the Tottenham Hotspur 3, AZ Alkmaar 1 game. Sorry, it's been a long night. In the Europa League Last 16-second leg, Tottenham are through 3-2 on aggregate. Brilliant first half performance, brilliant first 55 minutes. Then the rest of it was like gnashing of teeth. And I will be talking to people from all around the world. If you want to be involved at the end in the Fan Show of a future game, talking to me after a game, please do email tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. That is tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com, and Chris will get you involved. But first of all, today, I am going to go to America, I believe. Wait, hold on. I've made a mistake here. Yes, first of all, I'm going to go to Matt in New Jersey. Matt, am I right? Is that where you are? And how did you feel about that game?
You are correct, Barnaby. How you doing today? Yeah, it was. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I on mute? Oh my God.
No, you're not. I can hear you. It's all good.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank heaven. Yeah. So what did I think about that match? I think I echo a lot of your comments. You were saying that we were really, really great for about the first 65 minutes. And then as soon as we just started, we gave up that silly goal, and you just saw it in the whole team. Everybody's head dropped. You saw it in the stadium. You felt it in the stadium. Hell, I'm in New Jersey and I felt it. So, it was great that we were able to kind of like get that third goal and hold on to it, but it was pretty scary, man. It was scary times.
It was really horrible. Just showing a super chat there. Thank you, Yori. He says, nobody can tell me that Ange didn't watch our last video and copy all of my tips. Ange was on my channel. Sorry, Yori was on my channel and talked about what Ange needed to do. Fullback in midfield overload. Yeah, we were better in the midfield, that's for sure. But tell me, how did you feel then in that kind of second half when it felt like we were kind of almost giving them the momentum back? That's how it felt to me.
It felt like the same old story. We saw a lot of the same problems that we've been seeing the whole year. I believe we spoke a few weeks back about, and I think both of us agreed on the fact that it's that deep cross to the far post. Usually it's a second attack after the ball gets recycled, and then Poro's sucked into the middle, usually because the center back has been sucked left. And so the whole team is just on one side, and they have carte blanche right there. I mean, I believe there was one instance where if the AZ player wasn't in the way of Troy Parrott, he would have had a clear shot on goal. I believe that was in the 70th minute or 75th minute. I mean, these are schoolboy errors. We can't keep seeing the same stuff. And, we give the ball away in very dangerous positions. It's very disheartening to see the same problems over and over again. It's great that we got through, but we're papering over the serious flaws.
It's fascinating though, isn't it? Because when we have our two centre halves, I guess it's kind of like the equivalent, when Van Dijk has been injured for Liverpool struggle to make top four. And it is basically that. It's like if Van der Ven and Romero aren't playing together, suddenly the drop-off is about 25%. So I'm going to try, I'm getting obviously a lot of comments angry with me for being so passionate and angry. And I'm sorry, I'm invested. It's like, I can't help it. And I apologize. If you feel differently, that's absolutely fine. It's football. It's subjective. Absolutely. But are you in agreement with me, mate? If we, from now in the Premier League, don't play Romero and Van der Ven, because it's clear that the only chance we've got is if they play.
I kind of do agree. I do want to say, don't apologize for your feelings, because the way you support Spurs is the way that you support Spurs, and no one could tell you otherwise. I'm a big fan of telling people, if you want to support them a certain way, that's great. That is your deal. But I think I agree. You want to try to keep Romero and Van der Ven together just for these European competitions. I mean, what do we have to play for in the league? And I'm not trying to just say, let's just throw a bunch of kids out there, but maybe you could just be smart about the rotations where you don't use so much time. Maybe only give them a half, just even if we're losing match, even if we're not winning a match, it's just we got to kind of prioritize this, because this would be such a giant moment for Spurs, for everybody. So for all of us, all of the fans who've been through so much, if we could somehow get through the next round and get to the next round and really make some waves in it and get to the final, possibly win something, it would be a massive moment in time. So I do agree that we should kind of really prioritize the European competition.
I think it'll be really interesting to see what Ange says in the post-match and in the press conference about taking Van de Ven off, because obviously, you know, all of my points totally get thrown out the window if he says that that Van de Ven felt his hamstring. But let's see what happens. Alex
Please,
Z,
no,
Alex,
please don't
Alex,
say that. Please don't say that.
Alex Lee in the comments says, "You're right, Barnaby. Not just Van de Ven, because you can kind of understand it, but Maddison and Odebear makes no sense at all." And the thing about that one with Maddison and Odebear is, it's not like he made those subs and suddenly we tightened up and made it harder. It seemed to make us more open, didn't it?
Yeah, it's somehow we just lost our continuity. We lost. It feels like we just lost our heads when certain players come out of the game. We just lose that spark. Johnson, and I don't want to jump on the guy so much. I know he's still young, but I didn't even know he was there. I saw Odegaard come off, and I didn't know Johnson came on, because he didn't have like a touch. I think I saw him run once. But, you know, I think we should also prioritize like Solanke, and, you know, we can't keep running him into the ground. He does like such a hard 90 every match. Yeah. So it's, you know, it's very scary sometimes.
We're so much stronger with Solanke. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we are the Spurs team that we should be with Solanke, because he gives us so much pressing from that front. He does so much work, and when people slag him off, they really don't watch him. They really don't watch him for a full 90, I feel.
Okay, well, let's try, and lots of angry people in the comments. So let's try and get some positivity back. We are in the next round. How do you think we can fare against Eintracht Frankfurt?
Frankfurt is a very dangerous team. I mean, I know they just sold the Marmoush kid to City for a boatload of money. I don't know exactly how they reinvested that, but I know I do watch a little bit of Bundesliga. They are a pretty tidy side. They are dangerous. You know, Oliver Glasgow, he's now the manager of Crystal Palace. He was their manager. His system clearly works. They have a distinct 3-5-2 system that's it kind of works against it. Kind of just nullifies the other team, and at the same time having these wicked quick counters. I've seen that, and that is very worrying to me. I don't understand how we have the first leg at home and the second leg on the road. I thought with the UEFA rankings we're higher than Frankfurt, I think, in the scale. So I think we finished higher than them in the league table.
I think it's because Chelsea are higher in the UEFA rankings than us, even though they're in the Conference League. So once again, that's switched up by Chelsea.
We could never win. We could never escape them. They're forever the one who always steps on us. But yeah, I think Frankfurt can cause us problems. We just have to, like we talked about, just kind of prioritize that, really game plan this. Like, we can't just go in there open and gung-ho that first leg, because they do play this type of football that can find our weaknesses, and our weaknesses are quite glaring, as we've discussed.
Yeah, it's going to be stressful. Just brought a comment up there from Meletios. Thanks for your comments. Says, Barnaby, take a breath, mate. You want Van de Ven wrapped in cotton wool, but absolutely going ballistic. He got taken off. I have to say, I think that comment is a little bit, it's almost like you're not understanding the game state here either, Meletios. The reason I wanted him not taken off is because without tonight's win, there was no possibility of wrapping him in cotton wool after this, because there was no point. So it was worth taking the risk tonight. I'm sorry. In my opinion, it's just my opinion. But anyway, I appreciate the comment. Listen, mate, thank you so much for being patient, calling in all the way from New Jersey, being part of the show. And hopefully speak to you again after a good result of the weekend.
Yeah, that would be great, man. Listen, great shows. I really appreciate the time. You have a great rest of the day.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Cheers. Goodbye.
All right, later.
Okay, next off, over to Noel, who is not in the pub today. He's at home. Noel, I'm getting a lot of pushback in the comments. You're an older Spurs fan like me. Were you having kittens like I was, or were you a bit calmer?
Of course, Barnaby. Yeah, that's what Spurs fans do. I mean, at 2-0, we were, it didn't
Cruising.
Cruising. It looked as if we would get the third goal. A bit of inexperience, really, between Bergvall and I think it was Odegaard, wasn't it? And suddenly they're back in it. I still thought we could push on and win it. And the third goal, I was waiting for it to be pulled back for offside. I really thought it was very marginal, but thankfully we got it and managed to hang on. But there was lots of things about the game that I thought it was a good performance. Some very, very good performance. I think Van der Ven was magnificent.
Amazing.
And I think you're right. He should have stayed on for the 90 minutes, and if he had, I don't think we would have been in the position that we were. Romero still worries me, to be quite honest with you. I think I counted at least about 3 to 4 times that he gave the ball away casually. He's such a good footballer, and he makes things look so easy. But his pass, trying to pick out nearly an impossible pass into midfield, that scares me a lot. And I think actually there was one time late on in the second half where he was ball watching, where the two players were actually behind him, and I think it was Musuma and Vicario got the ball off the line. You're right. I mean, Kittens is, you'd be really nervous as a Spurs fan, but thankfully we got the job done. Some good performances, I thought, all right. There was good link-up play. Sonny obviously created 2 goals. Madison took his goal well. And I think Sonny might have been guilty of trying to do too much. I know he's a confidence player, but, he kept running into blind alleys a bit. Solanke, I didn't think Solanke was really into it because they didn't really play his, for his style. But anything he did do, he did well. And
it's the same as how many times we talked about it. No, we don't make our number 9's chances at all, do we?
No, I don't think he got. I don't think he got one chance.
No,
I don't think there was a proper ball put in. Where he could latch onto it. Or with his back to goal, set somebody up. But at the end of the day, we are through. I thought it would be 2-0. I said it to you on Sunday. I thought it would be 2-0, 3-1. Very disappointed that we give them a goal. And there was there was very nervy towards the end there. They could possibly have sneaked one and brought it in extra time, but God knows what would have happened at that stage. I think relief is the word all round. I didn't actually hear your after-match, but I gathered from your demeanour that you weren't too happy with the last 30 minutes.
Do you know what? Look, I'm authentic. That's all I can say. Is I've actually got a text from my girlfriend who says that I'll be upsetting our flatmate because I was so loud, and I wasn't. And the reality is, I wasn't loud in the first 60 minutes because we were. That was the Tottenham that can play for Ange.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the problem is, you need literally all of your best players on the pitch to do it, and that's not how football works.
Yeah, I know.
That is not how, and that is why. And listen, I'll caveat again for the umpteenth time. I'm desperate for it to work for Ange. I'm desperate for him to win the Europa League, right?
Yeah.
But in nowhere in football at the elite level do you get a chance to play your best players in every single game. And the drop-off when Van der Ven is not on the pitch and Romero, especially them together, is about 20%. It's about 20%.
At least that, maybe more.
And that is a dangerous, I'm sorry to keep going, but that is a dangerous situation to be in going into the last day of a major competition. And also, that is why, and you said at the start, you were surprised he took off Van der Ven. Like, I knew exactly what he was going to say, and he still will probably in the press. We couldn't take a risk with him for his long-term health. I get that. I get that, and I agree. But also when the drop-off is 20% and you're about to, we nearly threw that game away because of that, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I think Van der Ven was imperious. He was fantastic. He was amazing. Yeah. His pace, his recovery, his driving forward, the confidence that he actually bestows. There was no mistakes in him at all. I thought Spence had a good game again.
Yeah, so good.
Very, very good. And actually, we might have been critical of Porro once or twice in the last few weeks. I thought he did well. Mm-hmm. So all in all, the back four, other than Romero being a bit casual at times, and Basuma really, I know Vicario would probably have saved it, but that was throwing your body on the line, and that's what what's needed to happen. Another thing what I was impressed with, was they were making the first goal was made as a result of hard work. Instead of standing back, like Son could have easily said, "Okay, I'll not bother," and I wait for the ball to come back to me. But he actually made that chance, and Solanke set it up brilliantly. Solanke showed you how unselfish he is. He could have taken that shot himself. I saw Odebert in a better position, and scored a simple goal in the end. But all about hard work, and the goal that Madison scored, very well set up. Madison get the ball, plays it to Son, takes it back. But I'm disappointed. Sometimes Madison doesn't finish the game. I know that he was probably trying to strengthen it up a wee bit. And I don't think Basuma did much wrong with his cameo appearance. But all in all, we would have settled for it. I mean, I was thinking 2-0, 3-1. I should have known, being a Spurs supporter at Barnaby, we always concede a goal, and we can't actually. I was talking to a friend of mine today, actually, and his friend is a Manchester United fan, and he said he's not going to cut his hair until the United have had 5 clean sheets.
I've seen that online. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he'll have a long hair for a long time.
Yeah. So, well, they did get a good win tonight. Anyway, Noel, thanks so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. Thanks for being a part of it, and speak to you after the Fulham game, I'm sure.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Barnaby. Come on, you Spurs.
And you, mate. Okay, I'm getting a lot of pelters in the comments at the moment. I listen, and it's absolutely your prerogative. You abuse me as much as you want. I really don't care. I am an authentic Spurs fan, and if you were watching that game in the second half and you were calm and you were like, oh, I think Ange is making the right decision every time here, and I think the players are playing well in that second half against a team who are, frankly, dross, just want to sit back, play it long, then I don't know what games you're watching, really. I really don't. And it's absolutely fine. We're allowed to disagree. It's no problem. But the reality is that was a very hard watch, in my opinion. But you are also very allowed your own opinions. Okay, next I'm going to Essex and John. John, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Good. How are you watching that one?
Yeah, I was pretty comfortable all the way through, to be honest. I was very confident before the game, during the game. I thought we had them where we wanted them once we made the breakthrough. Yeah, I mean, before the game, I said I expect a 3-0 win. Looking player for player at home, it should have been a comfortable win. But it's the Tottenham way to give them a goal and make it a bit more nervous. But with regards to Van de Ven, I think he knew, the team knew, he was coming off after 60 minutes, no matter what.
Yeah.
That was agreed. He didn't look bothered when he come off. I think that was agreed. And I hear what you're saying, but when you've got players coming back from a long injury, you're never going to give them 90 minutes. You just can't. You really can't, I don't think. I think, didn't Romero, he first game back last week, didn't he have half a game or 60 minutes or something? And Van de Ven. And that shows to me that Ange is putting the team before himself.
That's true.
Because it would have been easy for him to keep Van de Ven on there and give us more chance of winning. Him keeping his job, which half the country seemed to think he would have lost if we hadn't gone through tonight. So that shows me that Ange is a Tottenham man. He's putting the club before himself.
Yeah.
And, like I said months ago, with all the injuries, already I can't wait until next season. He's brought the youngsters through, and I personally want to see him now to keep bringing them through, because they're going to be so much better next year.
Listen, mate, I think they're all really, really good points. And I wish, frankly, that I was able to be as calm as you. Maybe I invest too much. Just some quotes from Postecoglou's post-match interview. He was obviously asked about Lucas Bergwall. He said, Lucas is just growing and growing. People are getting a real glimpse now of what Wilson is all about too. Such a shame how his season has gone with all the time he's missed, but he's getting sharper now. I also thought we looked so much more solid with Romero and Van de Ven on the pitch together. They barely found a way through. I agree with all of that. And actually, I think Odebert on the right is so much more dangerous than he is on the left, because when he's been on the left, I think defenders have been able to see that he's just coming narrow every time. And I was, not just because he scored 2 goals, I thought him on the right really gave more room for Sonny to run into on the left as well. It's nice to hear you being so positive, John. I'm sure a lot of people in the comments will really appreciate that. How do you feel now then about, those players who are clearly so important to us and our ability to play well in Solanke, Van de Ven and Romero, particularly Vicario, I'd add to that as well. How do you feel about them and the Premier League? Would you keep kind of starting them and hope that they play themselves into full fitness?
Yeah, I think you got to. You got to keep them ticking over. You've got to keep them playing so they are super fit. Try and look after them. If you go 2-0 up in a league game, take a couple of them off after an hour so they get a rest. You've got a man managing, but you have got to keep them. You've got to keep them playing. You can't rest them for too long. They've had long enough out. They've got to play. And I think, like I said to you a couple of months ago, and I said when I was on the Chris's show, Brennan Johnson, there's no way he should start a game in front of our guy tonight.
Yeah.
Odegaard. He's just not a winger, Johnson. He's not a proper out-and-out winger. He doesn't take on any players whatsoever. He's great at getting on at the far post for a tap-in. But if you don't get that ball over there to that far post, what else does he do in a game? I think he's going to lose his place for quite a while. I was a bit surprised Son played the full game. I thought he would have been coming off after an hour, 70 minutes. He'd done a lot of running tonight, a lot of work.
I have to say, sorry to interrupt, mate, but they've just shown a clip on BT Sport or TNT Sports of Van de Ven when in that second half where he had to kind of accelerate fully and sprint to out-muscle Poku. And just after he won the ball back for us, he reaches back for his hamstring.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. But, he came off and sat straight down on the bench.
Yeah.
And like
They're interviewing him now, actually.
His face didn't look. He didn't look too bothered as he walked off. Before when he got injured, he was nearly crying.
Yeah, hopefully, maybe it was a bit of cramp. That's what I'm hoping. Maybe a bit of cramp. You haven't played a lot. They're just interviewing him now, so hopefully I'll get some quotes on that. So going forward, then Eintracht Frankfurt. What do you think? What are our chances of making it to the semis?
Yeah, to be honest, the way we are, I think it's a bit of a 50-50 game. I wouldn't make us hot favourites or anything. I would have done against today's opponents, but no, I think they're better.
We tend to be better against the better teams, don't we, as a rule?
Yeah. I think it'd be harder, but it shows you how far we've come down because I remember us playing Real Madrid at Wembley, beating them 3-1 and Dortmund 3-0. And now we're saying that, we've got a cup final tonight. That's what a few of my mates have been saying. This is your cup final this season, most important game of the season. And it's against the Dutch team that wherever they are in the league. I mean, their centre forward, their main centre forward was at Tottenham as a kid for years, been on loan in League One and League Two.
Yeah.
And, we should be putting them away 3-4-0.
Yeah, he should have scored tonight as well, that one that Basuma and Vicario cleared off the line.
Yeah. But I'll let you go anyway. I know you've got other people to talk to.
All right, John. Thanks for being a part of the show, mate, and I'll speak to you again. Thanks for your positivity. Appreciate it.
Lovely. Cheers.
Mate, bye. Okay, next up, I'm going to Canada and Colin. Colin, another of our regulars. Colin, how are you feeling today? Are you as positive as John, or were you having stress like I was during that second half?
Well, I mean, how are you, Barnaby? Good to see you.
Good, thanks.
I'm trying to look at the positives too. I thought Odegaard was great. I thought Madison played great. That's the best game I've ever seen Bergvall play. I was super, super impressed with his youth and the way he was able to control midfield. A lot of people are talking about bringing Sarr off, but I think you made a point. I don't think Sarr was hurting us out there, and he wasn't as involved as Madison and Bergvall were. But, I mean, we got a full 90 minutes out of him, and he didn't cost us anything, that's for sure. But I think there's a lot of positives. But really, like you said, in the 60th minute, I mean, it's like it was a whole other book. I was thinking when they took Van de Ven off, I wasn't surprised he came off. I didn't think he'd be able to play the 90, but I almost felt like they were waiting for that, rightly or wrongly. I thought they just seemed to change the way they were playing after the 60th minute. The mistake that Bergvall made at the top, I'm just driven a little bit batty by the nonchalance that's developed from playing out the back. I get it. I know it's the way that we play football now, but I just think mistakes like that are inexcusable at that level. And going forward, I don't know. I mean, I think that's about as good as we can be right now.
I think the good news for the Bergvall kind of Odebear mistake, the good news is they got it out of their system in a game that we managed to go through, and I don't think either of them will make that mistake again. I'm in the overall for Bergvall, I'm not fussed about that at all. I just thought he was for a 19-year-old, absolutely magnificent, driving us forward. And you know, the fact that he's come in as a kid and is now the number one name on the team sheet in central midfield says it all. And we need, frankly, 2 more of him, or you know, a couple more of him in our squad to make sure that we've got really great options in central midfield.
I thought that was our nicest midfield combination in a long time. I thought Bergvall's play really complemented Madison's well. I was surprised Madison came off. I thought he looked really strong, led to that beautiful start to that 3rd goal. Odebear was incredible, but I was surprised he came off, and I was tense too when bringing on Bissouma, and then also surprised that Odebear came off instead of Son coming off. I thought Son had a good game, but I was surprised Odebear came off, and I thought maybe Johnson would have been better in Son's spot. Almost a like for like in some ways. People are awfully hard on Johnson, though. I don't really understand why. He's been great for us by times. You talk about confidence, and I think that's a big part of it as well. I don't know.
I think some people, Colin, some people in the comments were saying how tired Odebear looked by that point. I think with Johnson, I think Johnson is a great option for bringing off the bench in games where, you know, the teams are opening up and they need to come and get something at us. But what he also needs to do better is just keep the ball. Sometimes it's as if he's only got one thing in mind, and I've seen it a couple of times in the last few games. He keeps trying that trick where he kicks it one way round the player and tries to run round the other side, but he doesn't get the ball past the player. And so then he's running past him. He hasn't got the ball with him, and they're on transition. So he just needs sometimes to be a bit more, I just think just a bit smarter with it. But yeah, Odebear, I think in the comments people were saying he was pretty tired. But I just think for me, where the danger was, tired or no tiredness or fatigue, sorry, is that if they had got an equalizer and it goes to extra time, we have no creativity. At that point, I think he would have had to probably bring Mikey Moore on as somebody who could have unlocked them, because we weren't going to unlock them, I don't think, from there.
Well, when you look at, it was around the 72nd minute when they looked fitter. And I know as a coach, he's thinking, okay, I have to change things up a little bit. But really, when you sort of went down the bench at that point, the way the other players on the pitch were playing, you thought, who do we bring in here that's going to make us better? And especially in midfield, because Bentancur was obviously suspended. I didn't see bringing in Bissouma was going to make us better at that time. And of course, Bissouma ends up making a play that arguably saved the game for us. So I don't know. I always think that he's got to know. I mean, he's got to know more about football than we do. He's a coach of a Premier League team, for better or for worse. And I think that the metrics that they're looking at as a coaching staff are probably a little bit more advanced than mine sitting on the sofa.
And listen, I'm going to try and say that I think what the team can take from today is, for that first 65 minutes, that actually we were nearly back to some of our best, and hopefully they can take that forward. Colin, thank you so much for being a part of the show, mate. Let's speak again after the Fulham game. Cheers.
Thanks, Barnaby. Take care.
No problem. Bye-bye. Okay. Next up in Ireland is Paul. Hello, Paul. How are you doing, mate?
How are we doing?
Yes, I'm okay. I'm calming down, Paul. What did you think of today?
Do you know what? No, look, I think we all know now it's not a Tottenham Hotspur game unless we're a little bit stressed. I think it just comes with the territory at this stage. But you know what? No, like your previous caller, I'm quite positive. I thought we were very, very comfortable up to, yes, I take your point, 60 minutes, 65 minutes. I wouldn't say it kind of fell to pieces, but yeah, you could see the change of atmosphere once Mickey came off. I get your point, and I be honest, I kind of get Andrew's point as well. If it is a fact that you could only get 65, or you only wanted to go and give him 60, 65 minutes and get him off the park. And instead, we probably could have done with another goal or two just to make it a little bit more comfortable. But it did, the whole game did change after that. We looked a bit edgy for 10, 15 minutes. And that's where the stress comes in as a fan. But I think overall, I thought we were very, very good. Bergvall again, I just think he's just getting better by game. The man, he was an absolute Rolls Royce again tonight. He was incredible, absolutely everywhere. As you said, we could do with another 2 or 3 of him.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. What else then going forward? Eintracht Frankfurt. What would you do about this kind of very weird and what feels like almost an only Spurs situation, where we've got players who have been so injured that it feels like we have to be very careful with them in the Premier League? Where are you on all that?
Look, we're not exactly blessed with, we'll say a strong squad. A lot of people come out, a lot of players coming back from injury that probably do need minutes on the pitch. To be honest with you, under 21 games behind closed doors is where I'd be putting them, and not in a Premier League stadium playing 45 minutes or
they won't sprint. They
be.
Wouldn't sprint in those games, though, would they?
No, they wouldn't. But it would keep their legs ticking over. It will keep them on their toes. It'll keep them, relatively match fit. Look, I think this was always going to be the plan. It was going to be wrapping them in cottonwood as much as possible, because the Europa League is the only thing that we have basically fighting for. Look, we're not going to get relegated. The Premier League is, as regards of even claiming the European places, is long gone. It's winning this competition and qualifying for the Champions League next year. This is our bread and butter now. So, if he does have to wrap them in cottonwood and not play them at all, to make sure that the next day out, he gets more than 65 minutes out of Van de Ven, then so be it. If that's what you have to do, then do it. I don't care, because without them in the team, we haven't got a hope in hell.
Yeah, and then how does that feel then with all those kind of lots and lots of reports that Christian Romero is interesting Real Madrid? How important do you think Romero is, or is it really that Van de Ven is the most important? And if we can find another centre back who can play, easy passes well, or is it a lot of the time that Romero's passing in between the lines causes so much damage to even teams we play who sit back?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like last Sunday against Bournemouth. Like, I know he was only just back from injury, but he could have cost us 3 before they actually scored the first. Really poor passes. Just very lethargic. They're kind of more casual at times with his passing that can get us into the height of trouble. So look, I'll be brutally honest. Look, there is no one player bigger than the club, and never has been and never will be. And if the likes of Real Madrid want to come and they want to pay big money for him, I don't have an issue with it. Let him move on. Let us get the money and we'll bring in somebody else. I don't want to see Van de Ven go. Now, there's something in the back of my head, and this is coming from no news source whatsoever. But if Van Dijk goes from Liverpool, I am absolutely petrified that Van de Ven will go up the road.
They couldn't afford him, though. I don't think they can afford him.
Yeah. Look, they're going to have to pay big money. But if you're looking for a natural replacement for Van Dijk, that's where you'd be looking. Plus Dutch manager, and I don't know. But look, hopefully it's not going to come to that. We'll be playing Champions League. I said this to you months ago, that we are going to be sitting on a show like this with a beer in the hand at the end of the Europa League final, celebrating a win, and we will be playing Champions League football next year.
Well, I love that positivity. I'll tell you now, I told Chris Cowlin when we started talking about doing watch-alongs that I'll be going to Bilbao if we get to the final. So we certainly won't be talking unless I'm talking from some car park or bar in Bilbao. Yeah. But listen, Paul, thanks so much for being part of the show. I really appreciate it. We're through, and that's the important thing. Top man.
Absolutely. Come on, you Spurs.
Bye-bye. Okay, and next up, I'm staying in Ireland because here is Des. Oh no, Des, you're not in Ireland. Sorry, you're from the UK. How are you, Des?
I'm from Northern Ireland, but yeah, I'm in York.
Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry,
I'm
confusing.
good.
I got it wrong on almost every political level. I
No,
apologize,
you're
Des. What did you think of that performance?
You're absolutely fair. Quite pleased with it, to be honest. It probably was nerve-wracking for a few people who I thought did really well. I thought when you considered the third goal after they made the mistake that let them back in, I mean, I was screaming, kick it out, because we were under the cosh at that point. But what a goal, what a team goal to get that up the pitch and show that confidence. And that's what handball is all about. And you know, in like the group that I'm in, the ones who sit beside each other, I've been quite highly critical of Hans sometimes, and when it goes wrong. But you know, when you see a goal like that, that's what it's all about, and it just needs to happen more often. In terms of Alkmaar, I think we're actually doing them down a bit. You know, they've been, if you look across the 3 games that we've played them, they've been the better team in 2 of the games, not tonight. And there's certainly no mugs. They may not have the resources that we do, but they're a good team. And I think that's a good result to beat them the way we have.
Yeah, and then how do you feel going through into the Eintracht Frankfurt 2-leg game then? Or are you more like, let's just concentrate on some of these Premier League games first?
I think like most people, the Premier League's, you know, it's a bit of a dead rubber now. It's just, I mean, Daniel might like to finish a bit higher for more prize money coming in, but we're 16, 17 points ahead of relegation, and I know there was never realistically any danger, but when Leicester beat us, it was quite worrying. So let's just focus on that. Quarterfinals, you're not going to have an easy. Whoever you play, it's not going to be easy. So Frankfurt, Ajax, whoever, you know, we've still got Lazio to worry about, United, all the teams. So just take it as it comes and just, you know, go for it.
Yeah, so that Europa League quarterfinal, the first leg will be the week of the 10th of April. It will be the 10th of April, the second leg on the 17th of April. So a good month until then to get the players either, depending on how you look at it, up to speed or try and not really play them that much. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think it depends how long Danso's out. If Danso's, you know, if he's going to be out for 5 or 6 weeks, then they may not well have a choice. So the good thing is Davis was back tonight. He was on the bench. Well, he actually came on as always, and he wasn't on for long, but he looked steady away. Just try and keep him fit and play either, you know, rotate between Van de Ven and Romero and Danso, and you know, try and keep. But, you know, at the end of the day, if it comes to the game next month and 2 or 3 of them aren't fit, we'll just have to get on with it. You know, there's nothing you can do about that. Whatever team goes out, we'll just have to get on with it. I think Spence could quite easily play at centre back. And as you can see, Archie Gray is very confident. It doesn't but well, he's quite athletic, isn't he, Spence? He's quite strong and he's big, so I don't think he would have any problems playing at centre back. The guy would play anywhere. He's just the type of player.
Yeah, he's brilliant. Listen, Des, thank you for being a part of the show. Really appreciate it. Let's speak again after hopefully another win at the weekend. Top man. Okay, I've had to let Des go. Just couldn't quite hear him. But very patiently, Paddy is waiting. And Paddy, thanks so much for waiting around. How did you feel about that 3-1 victory tonight and 3-2 overall, taking us through to the quarterfinals?
I'd say I had to agree with you, to be honest with you. I know you're getting some abuse, but I thought it was a very patchy performance, even in the first half. I think Son was pretty poor until he, you know, he did that press. He lost the ball a few times, just was weak. Thought Bergvall was great. I thought the second, once we scored the goal, we kind of sat back, stopped the press, and we did the same thing when we got the second goal in the second half. Odeberg was great to see him get a couple of goals.
Yeah,
I thought the second half, Son and Spence, you know, started playing together well. Where Son was playing him in on the wing, and he you know, was causing a lot of danger there. And Spence, he's some running back to cover that guy Poku a couple of times. Like when Van de Ven went off, he had the pace. Like he has pace. He can play on the left. He can play on the right. I think he did play centre back for us in one of the games before when he came on he had to move in the second half and played that position. Johnson, I know some people say he gets a hard time, but he came on, he didn't track back. When he loses the ball, he jogs back. He just doesn't track back.
I agree.
And, you know, he scores, but he's non-existent apart from that. So Odegaard is going to deserve a run now for a while, I think. I think what you said, though, is the biggest issue, and we did it against Brighton, but we do it all season, is the inability to see out a game when we're winning. It's just to slow the ball. I mean, the last 10, 15 minutes when we were leading, we got off, Van de Ven was off, and yet we're in 2 against 2 at the back, or the ball's played in and there's two there attack, Parrott and another guy with a free header in the box, or, you know, it's just, why do we do that with, you know, we're winning a game and we're belting forward looking for another goal. It's just ridiculous. It's just
Paddy, let me ask you a question. Why do we do that? Like, what, you know, do you think that's the manager's request, or do you think it's just naivety on the players' part? I don't know the answer. But
I mean, surely, if you've got a World Cup winning centre back and a Cup America winning centre back who's lots of experience, he should be corralling that defense, like to be tight, hold the team together. But like belting forward, we're 2 against 2 or 3 against 3 at the back. It's just crazy. And we do it every match. We just don't seem to have that in-game mentality to see a game out. Like, you know, just slow the ball down. Don't go for an attack. Just play safe balls. But we just don't. Maybe it's Postecoglou. I don't know. But it's...
I mean, one thing I would say is that I feel like if, you know, and I know they're unfit, and I know, you know, it has now been decreed that it was definitely the right decision to take him off after 60 minutes. But if Van de Ven and Romero on the pitch, it wouldn't have been like that together, I don't think.
But it's not just this game. It's just, we seem to do it all the time. It's like we can't see a game out. It's never like we're in Dundalk, we have a local Dundalk Spurs group, and in our chat, it's always, we're going to need another goal. We're going to need another goal. It doesn't matter if you're 3-1 up, we're going to need another goal. That's just it, because it's just always nervy and you can't actually relax. I was having a beer downstairs. You can't relax for the last 20 minutes and just say, right, that's it. We're through. Lovely. Let's rest up a few guys now for Fulham at the weekend. And it's just never like that. Hanging on for the last 5 minutes. So I think if you do that against Frankfurt, we'll get penalised. I don't think they're a great team, Alkmaar. I really don't think they're a great team. So I think with a half-decent team, I think we'll get punished.
It'll be interesting to see how Frankfurt play at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, whether they just try and keep it deep and tight and then hit us on the break. And you'd think they'll have better players to score in those transition opportunities they get, or whether they'll try and come at us, at which point you'd think Spurs would probably pick them off a little bit.
Well, at least Marmoush is gone. That's one positive out of the situation. I think Götze got 2 goals today in that win. I don't know. It's going to be. I think it's a 50-50 game. I'd see the betting now. It has Man United as favourites. They've gone up to favourites. We're third favourites now.
I think Bilbao are favourites because they've got Nico Williams,
and they're at home. Yeah.
Although one thing going against that, as I contradict myself immediately, is of course Bayern Munich played at home against Chelsea in that Champions League final and managed to lose on pens. But Nico Williams is a cut above. So that's the team that I would like us not to have to play. But look, Eintracht Frankfurt. I mean, look, let me ask you a different question. Where does Ange need to get to, do you think, to keep his job?
I think he needs to win it. The league is done. In the league, I think he's just too naive in tactics. I think he has to win it. I think if he doesn't win it, I hate to see that, we change him back to the same thing again, change the manager every 18 months. But I just don't think he's got enough cop on to know when to change things in the game. It's just like it's just the one tactic. And if it doesn't work, he doesn't change it. So people say Areola, there's rumors about
I saw that.
Inter manager as well.
There's rumors about who, sorry?
The Inter manager is the...
Inzaghi, yeah. But some reports I read this evening that Spurs have apparently actually approached Iraola's people about trying to find out whether he'd be interested, and that actually he would, apparently.
Him and the other one is Silva, but only what Silva was. I know he was great at Hull. but he had a disaster in Everton.
But actually, his disaster doesn't look quite as bad as everyone else's disaster.
No, so and he's getting a tune out of Fulham. He's really getting a tune. Like they lost Palhinha, and they seem to be still a great team this year.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think either of those. There's no other real great prospects that are out there. But I think
Rangers have just gotten through to the quarters on penalties.
I was sort of in two minds there. Obviously, being Irish, I was kind of hoping that Fenerbahce get through, and also that Mourinho was saying the game's not over when they were 3-1 down. But I think we're probably better with a Mourinho team out.
I think you're probably right. Listen, Paddy, really good chat. Thanks so much. Make sure you come on again. It's been really good to talk to you. And look, like I said, it's been a difficult evening in some ways, a really good evening in others, but most importantly, we're through, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, come on, you Spurs.
Top man. See you, Paddy. Okay, guys, if you would like to appear on a future episode of The Fan Show, please do email Chris Callin at tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. That's tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. It's very important to us that this channel gives everyone a voice, particularly from those around the world. So wherever you're from, please do get in touch.